first map in the series, and with challengers, we've gotten to see a lot of, little comp changes here and there, teams trying out new things. Shopify Rebellion, they stick to something a little bit more comfortable, and Roy going into it, it looked like, hey, is this going to be a comp diff? It was, but for Shopify.
The other way around. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And not only did they play they made this kind of old meta comp work extremely well, they also seem to have adapted to what QOR was going to do. They mostly avoided the breach traps. They mitigated the Yoru value. So it wasn't just the fact that they were going with a comfort pick. They came into this with a very clear game plan.
And on the flip side of things, QOR, when we saw them on Vine before, Dan, things looked a little bit more, a little bit more together, a little bit more cohesive. But when they weren't able to do the plays that they wanted, the util they needed against Shopify Rebellion Black, it kind of seemed like things fell apart from there.
Well, yeah, a big reason why they couldn't really do anything is just Brock. This was the topic of conversation that we wanted to have, right, around the Sky and the reasoning why. And it seems like there's a trend. There was a little bit of a time last year where it was like, if you're playing Sky, it's kind of like, okay, you're outdated, you need to change, you need to modernize your meta. But now we're starting to see it back again, right? At the very top in tier 1, we saw it from MIBR, we saw it from Crew, and even in the tier 2, we saw Sad playing it, WFP playing it, Winter playing it. Maybe not the specific combination, but we're seeing a little bit of a comeback for the Sky, and you can see it in the assist from Brock. It was 13 assists, a lot of the pop flashes, fast plays, giving no chance for what QOR wanted to do in this map. I mean, they were not ever comfortable here.
Yeah, and the supportive kind of playstyle from Brock worked really well, but even the duelist Gecko that BCJ was putting out as well was absolutely insane. I think the overall firepower, you can kind of tell that maybe the word in the grapevine was correct. They played with passion. They were confident. They were brawling together. They had very good setups and very good executes, and overall it seemed like they were really well constructed on this map.
A little more passion, a little bit more energy, and I mean, a 13-3 victory, I think, says it all. I didn't quite expect the first kills to go in this way, considering that it seemed so heavily favored for Shopify Rebellion Black the entire time, but being able to show too, right, when they're playing at a deficit, really being able to shine regardless.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you see 13-3, you're not expecting almost a pretty much even first kill, first death, so I can kind of understand that as well. But yeah, honestly, it did seem like Shopify Rebellion Black, even though they were falling for the early plays sometimes from the core side, they're mid-rounding very well. They're adjusting very well. They're kind of understanding oh, we're losing space and we're losing players over here. Let's push towards elbow. Let's go into the deep space. So it seemed like overall their comms were flowing, and they seem to have a pretty good way to leverage the kind of the early disadvantages and the sort of gimmick plays that QOR was putting up.
Looking across the board of the players as well, I mean, the shout outs to Logan on the day of being able to, try and put up as much as he could here. But Dan, just on the other end of things, I mean, utility that Shopify Rebellion Black had with this composition, shots they were hitting, it was just too much for QOR to handle.
Yeah, again, it was a really good support, and obviously the number disadvantage and the way that they were converting this rounds and making it winnable after it was constantly a 5v4. It's really nice, but it happened so fast. The reaction was so fast on the side of Shopify Rebellion that that's why we see the 13-3. I think that tells the story itself. I think another point that we talked about that I want to touch on again is the two duelists. We had the question of, okay, how are they going to do? They're kind of in a even playing field. Are they going to be able to perform? And well, I mean, we have that answered, right? Pain going insane, 21-10, and on the other side, Timotino, who did really well on the Yoru yesterday or the last week, struggling a lot on this agent today.
Yeah, the opportunity's just not there going up against Shopify to really just get into the mix. And if it's a Yoru that isn't really making too much of an impact, the agent just really falls flat. But I want to start talking a little bit more about Paint, and not just Paint, but someone else who is finding themselves near the top of that leaderboard, but BCJ, the other initiator that we got to see on the team piloting that Gecko, because not even just being able to set up his teammates and really being able to set up Paint for success here, Roy, but himself as well.
Yeah, and to add on top of that as well, Sierra, he's also IGLing. He has the pressure of leading this kind of sort of brand new roster, right? There's a lot of pressure coming in, right? There's so many different layers of psychology and strategy, and he's still putting up these performances. And not only that, but he's also just so confident in the way he was moving around and the way he was shuffling his positions, his timing on the fights and the duels. It really seemed like BCJ was fired up, and of course, Paint. I mean, he's kind of playing with what we sort of expect from him.
This is obviously a new role for BCJ this year with the IJ Link role in Shopify Rebellion, but he has always been that very vocal player, right? So I feel like it just makes sense for him to take this IGLing role and to be performing to this level. I think it would be even weird to expect him not to perform like, you know, some other IGLs struggling to do so. So I like to see this. The Gecko looked really good, and it seems like the perfect role for him to continue to do so. So it's a player that you always need to keep an eye on.
It's nice too, because for BCJ, he wanted the opportunity to show that he could IGL, absolutely just performed in trials, and now gets this opportunity. So not being hit by that IGL debuff that sometimes that we see is like, I don't know. I think that's really, really cool. So I think just a testament to what he's been able to bring to the team. And that's going to be a tough pill for QOR to swallow, as we now have to talk about the next map in the series, which isn't even their pick. Bind was their pick. You would not have guessed that from the score, but now Shopify Rebellion Black. Roy, they're taking us to Haven. We haven't seen it in a little bit, but last time we did, it was pretty strong. And for QOR, not so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Haven makes complete sense for both of these teams, right? They both have pretty strong initiator players overall. They seem to, you know, like to set up the duelists, and this map sort of allows that sort of system to flourish, right? You have your kind of opening jet, you have the, you know, the entries, you have the support util, you have so many layers of utility and map control. And I think this map makes complete sense for Shopify Rebellion Black. But I mean, yeah, the last showing from QOR wasn't great on Haven, but it was about a week ago, and yeah, it wasn't amazing, but they've had time to work on it. They've had time to sort of reconstruct and kind of reapproach the map, and hopefully they found solutions to how to play
sooner rather
the map.
Than later, because of course this is series point onto the line here. But what I'm mostly intrigued about here with Shopify Rebellion Black, as we head into our agent select, they stuck with something that was a little bit older but very comfortable from Bind, and it worked out really well. Now that we haven't seen them on this since Stage 3, where it was still a really comfortable look, Dan, I'm curious if they are going to opt to switch things up, or if they're sticking to something that's pretty close to what they had before.
I think with these two teams, I don't know if I want to expect anything too crazy. It's been like some slight changes here and there, but nothing that is like, whoa, this is new. I mean, just yesterday we were seeing that.
Asha, Yoru.
Okay. Just yesterday, but just yesterday we were seeing teams running that Fnatic comp with the double duelist, things like that. There's some teams that are opting for that kind of craziness. Some, as we get to see right now, slightly different, but made it to their own. So Paint is going to be on the Neon here in Brock and Tejo.
All right. I don't know about you, Roy. I'm excited for the Brock Tejo era.
So am I. I was just about to say, I've been advocating for the Tejo breach on Haven. Tejo is he allows this sort of unique things to be accomplished on Haven. Guaranteed short A control when you're playing on the attack side, right? Being able to counter a lot of the early Sentinel util when you're playing on attack, breaking the Cypher traps. There's just so many levels and layers to the value that you can get from Tejo that I'm surprised we haven't seen more.
Yeah, so with a bigger change coming over on that end, QOR, just a little one in terms of the Sentinel. I'm curious about the game plan going into this, but for QOR, a lot of pressure on their shoulders. Can they take down the demons on Haven? We'll have to find out. Tenric, Marks, have fun. We'll see you on the other side.
We certainly will, Sierra. Thanks so much. After a fun display from Shopify Rebellion Black, among other descriptive terms, we'll see them take on their pick of Haven with Brock on the Tejo. QOR Snarly now switching over to the Cypher as well. Two comps that we've seen kind of molt over the course of this offseason and or regular season, Marks, but two comps that we are excited to see blossom here on Haven.
I mean, you've kind of framed it before based on our previous matchup where it's like the Valorant of the old versus the Valorant of the new, right?
Valorant of the olden days.
And we're seeing QOR really dip into the Valorant of the old here, which I think is a really interesting way to go about things. Whereas on the other hand, we're seeing that it's a completely different, you know, amalgamation of previous comps, given the fact that Shopify Rebellion Black are using that Neon, which has definitely been nerfed out, but also bringing in the Tejo. These are fresh ideas here, Tenrek.
Hopefully, they will be as useful as the old ones, as QOR is foot to the floor on this first attack. They've gone and went all the way through B site, through Garage, over to Link, and now they're planning on C site before Shopify Rebellion has even blinked, and they've lost their bloody IGL. A little bit of work on the pedestal done on the post play here. Shopify will blast through, but Snarly has been lurking through Garage, and that's an angle that Shopify cannot fully cover. QOR take that lack of speed in the previous round to heart, and Brock, revealing himself with the salvos, will take his base. QOR with the opening round.
That's honestly just because we can kind of see the outlines there. That was so funny to me that you just see Tejo, like, you know, putting his hand up to his ear, like, oh, what's going on over there? Just inside of that smoke while 3 members of QOR are ready to move in on a dime. But, you know, it was a very fast round here, and this is the aggression that we simply were just not seeing from QOR. Based on that last one, I would have imagined to see them play a little bit more patient, but that time around, QOR are very happy to just kind of get in the middle of it and catch the members of Shopify Rebellion off guard, honestly, which just allowed for great openings coming through from this squad. So they will be buying up into this one. Logan actually investing in a rifle. Same with Timotino. As it's going to be the smoke. The dark cover gets tossed down. A couple of spray throughs happening. But Spaz staying alive in the back of there, while the other members of QOR are exploring around mid a bit.
I really appreciate this economic lunge QOR are taking, provided they're able to connect as effectively as they did the previous round, but already the fact that their tempo can be a little more controlled this round by Shopify goes to show that that surprise factor is already no longer one in this game, and QOR will have to use that blazing speed to an advantage, not just as one that isn't recognized, but one that can't be stopped. On to me will go again. QOR do have the better guns, but Timotino is a little bit stuck, and so Paint's gonna take advantage of that, walking right in before anybody else can make an entry, and will still grab Snarly for that matter too, now that he's picked up the gun that's been handed over to him by Tim.
30 seconds left.
Now Shopify can do a lot more work, and so they'll prepare this C-crunch a little earlier than QOR may intend. Preparing for potentially the Link play. No, they'll fault line right onto Paint. Pancake stranded immediately. QOR will band-aid fix it, at least until Paint walks his back around for 4 now. And it's left to a 2v1 against Darkest with 9 seconds on the clock. What do you do if you're Darkest? Apparently you stick it, and it works. The 2 initiators, all the util in the world to flush out Darkest, but Darkest needs no flushing. He's playing C lane with no smokes, and he's got an aftershock for that matter. He can play on both fronts off the double swing if he needs to. He's not aware of whether or not there's a potential flank as well. Fault line attempts to grab him, at least early on, but Shopify know they've got a lot more in the tank. Now that salvo to goad out the Cubby swing, it's not there. Darkest taking his time, finding Brock. Now it's down to BCJ on the swing back. Fault line available, he dodges it, but still has to hold down on the spike.
Time.
Still not halfway! Darkest is orchestrating this so perfectly. And will save the second round for QOR. So much more than they intended to be lost. But they'll still grab the round, damn it.
Well, yes, they still grabbed the round, but you have to remember that that was given the fact that QOR won the first pistol round.
That was off of 1 rifle, bro. 1 rifle that Paint picked up out of nowhere.
It worked out perfectly. I mean, if I'm being honest there, I think Pancake should have been able to at least get another, but Paint doing the best that they can to try and pull that one back, and unfortunately Darkest is going to be the thorn to make that happen. Still, the Shopify Rebellion Black do an excellent job at just stunting the economy of QOR so haphazardly, and Paint going for that initial operator shop doesn't find purchase, and so will back out completely. So QOR still very much in this one, but they know that they've got that eco buy, so they have to be careful where they tread every single foot pattern. I don't know, words hard.
It's okay. No, I got what you were saying though.
Thank you.
You got your message across. Paint still finds connection on the up and is able to dash away before the punish comes through. Was just waiting for someone to cross that road again, and does find one. But now where do you go from here if you're Shopify? There's no development off of that defense. Only a stopper onto what, 2? The default's still being played out by QOR, and that record has not scratched. The trap wire, BCJ executes onto Snarly, but Logan holding it down is able to get the refrag early. Shopify are prepared for the crunch, and now with Pancakes on the full flank, it's an absolute munch. They're going to town. Darkest, yet again, exit. It's a little too awkward, and Shopify have players there this time. Nerf's turn. Let's see what you find. Maybe one. Oh, wow. Rough lurks. But that'll be that. And Shopify will fully recover.
Yeah, and once again, they did have the weapon advantage there. That is more or less what we expected to happen. And we're starting to see just a little bit more of that flexibility that Paint's allowed to have just with that Neon. You know, gets the first shot, able to escape, nice and clean. Oh, want to be disruptive, grab a rifle off the ground, slide across the ground, completely just baffle your opponent there. And that's what Neon is excellent for. The fact too that that was a pick onto Timotino just made it so much more difficult for Core to find anything else in the rest of that round. So an excellent round coming out from Shopify, but they are coming into this next one with all half shields. Might be a bit more of a tactical decision given the recent changes of things, but
yeah.
A lot of utility going in.
This is definitely a fun call from Shopify. A confident one, to be sure. They'll give the B site the core, as they'll get an easy plant. And Darkest is only one orb away from this rolling thunder, so they can't hand anything to him. Overdrive out from Paint. I mean, that's gonna be a lot of what they hinge on for this counter push. They do trust Paint quite a bit, but unfortunately the stun will only be on himself. Huge flank from Spaz. Pay attention to that as well. Gotta have Logan watching that. And now Paint. Oh yeah, he was opping too. Okay, he'll just grab 2 with those. Yeah, he doesn't even. He doesn't even need an ultimate. He can just op. That's fine, I guess. So quick and easy retake thanks to the smoke. Yeah, you can't ping that. You can't fight it apparently. Now that Pain is quick scoping too. This is one of the stupidest scoreboards I've ever seen. It's 4 rounds deep. The game is tied, and Pain has 10, and everyone else has 2. This is so dumb.
Or it's just pure skill coming out from Pain. It's all about how you frame it. Come on now.
But I'm not saying it's not skill. It's just silly. It's just hilarious how ascended he already is, and we're 5 rounds in. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And on top of that, too, he uses the overdrive already kind of halfway to getting that one back online. And I'm going to be honest, I almost feel like that ultimate was a bait because you saw Core just immediately spread themselves out around corners to be like ready for the flick. And that just allowed the rest of Shopify to be able to walk through and Pain able to find more value with that operator. Already, Pancake starts us out with a kill onto Darkest, dropping the spike as well. While we do see Core trying to be a little bit more exploratory, but it's just this information game that Shopify Rebellion Black have been playing. And so much utility just has to be utilized to keep members alive. Forget about even getting in onto the site or defending it. You got to use that stuff just to stay alive. And so it really feels like Shopify Rebellion are playing them like a fiddle.
They should be pretty quickly cleaned up. Great peek from Nerve, but he's not going to be prepared for Spaz. We will not hear any other steps. We'll just confirm this. Great plant to grab Timotino as well. The patience is impeccable from Spaz. And although the guns certainly aren't there from Core, positioning from Shopify is making this round just continue to look like an absolute trivia. Pain, okay, sure, man. Why not? No, I wouldn't like to pick up a rifle. I'm perfectly fine, thank you.
Yeah. It's so funny because this is just such a different style of Shopify that we saw compared to the last map where it feels like it's a little bit more loosey-goosey, just playing off of Paint being that kind of star duelist that you would expect to be able to run it down, create a lot of space, and then the cleanup crew comes through. Meanwhile, on the last map, it just felt like it was a lot more just execute, swinging off of each other, trading effectively. But this time around, it's just a completely different look, and it still looks really good coming out from Shopify Rebellion. Core, they were able to find those first 2 rounds. They need to find a little bit more. In this round, they will be coming in with 3 ultimates. I'm looking at that Rolling Thunder. I'm looking at that Hunter's Fury. I want to see them open up with one of them and then use the other to really just be able to stall things out onto the spike. They need to first get that spike down, and that's when things can come alive. Killing Paint is a great way to start it.
A great way to goad presence onto that courtyard after the early A action, and so they'll catch a couple of those members off guard. Now the rest of Shopify has to back out, but they're still playing so individualistically. Spaz is going to be absolutely by himself. Pancakes can manage the link peek, but only good for 1 before Spaz will fall, so it's a 4v2 on the take-back, but Spike's still yet to go down. Pancakes is far too close for comfort at the moment, and he's got the peek over the pedestal. That's 1 gone for Snarly, and Nerve reduced to a crisp. Spray through all the smoke. Pancakes, are you joking? Spike still yet to fall. Darkest too scared. And I get it. Fault line on top of the ultimate from Pancakes. Now the Aftershock will finally force the swing and the kill. And so Brock stands alone as an ultimate. Has the ability to get a rifle back if he's got it, which I think he does because he's got an operator right now. And he'll have the salvo again to zone out, just as Darkest will feel confident enough to get this spike down. And all the while, if you breathe in Nerve's direction, he goes down to anybody's round.
All missiles away.
30 seconds left.
There go the salvos, stalling out a little bit longer, allowing for that reposition from Brock.
Decides to walk into it.
Planted.
Planted on the back site. Darkest still just walking. That'll be well timed, but Brock is better. One shot. That is all you need, and he's just gonna ult it. But it's horizontal to the lane instead of vertical, and so Nerve is gonna TP regardless. He can't cross. Brock holds half. He has no idea where Nerve is, but it just takes one shot, and that's all he'll get.
Clutch.
Somehow, some way, Shopify, they'll do it.
I was gonna question it. I was gonna question why the spike was being planted all the way back there. And then I see Nerve go for the from the shadows, but quite frankly, at that point, you just want to play a little bit more safe, allow for that C-long peak to happen. It might have just been simply because of so much pressure. Pancakes somehow just got so much value into the back there. It was simply just because Darkest didn't feel comfortable enough to move in and get a safe plan. Brock playing that 2AT, so intelligent on that play. QOR still struggling to be able to find yet another round here. Pain has already advanced forward, has this operator. Might get the swing, looking for something, but it's actually just the tip-tap from Darkest that will drop that operator to the ground. So QOR, they finally have an opportunity as Brock falls as well.
That's another great start to QOR's attack, able to just bait Shopify into biting off more than they can chew, unless they're the ones who lose the bigger chunk. Second round in a row that Shopify have not only lost one, but lost a second when they only should have lost one. BCJ whirled against him, but blinded away. Timotino playing with death, and now the TP into the back. Nerve is quicker to the draw, and that'll be all she wrote shortly. Pancake steps on for one, but that will be it, and QOR keep 4 standing for round 7, which they will hold on to as they will this map.
Good stuff coming out from QOR. They're slowly pulling things back. After 4 dominant rounds coming in from Shopify Rebellion Black, finally, we're seeing QOR be a little bit more aggressive. It felt like a little bit of overconfidence, if I'm being honest, from Brock and Paint. Allowed those instrumental kills. We talk about Paint being kind of the spearhead for Shopify Rebellion Black, but if you don't have any support to that steer, then it's simply just a little knife. And you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight.
No buckling from Paint on the front line just yet. You can see the respect that Shopify are starting to slowly develop, and they'll have to do it a little bit more. Paint, you poor soul.
Gets the bullet. Hurts to be on the receiving end of that one. Unconventionally, we see Darkest being the one holding the operator this time, but given where Paint fell down, see Shopify Rebellion immediately start to push up a little bit. Try and reinforce this A site here. It's going to be interesting. The main flood of QOR is just coming up a long. I think they're going to be ready for it. Rolling Thunder activated here. That'll slow things down, absolutely. Let's see if QOR decide to re-engage.
Go from Nerve onto BCJ up the center. And Brock is still planted in the sewer. This is where QOR continue to just
30 seconds left.
Shopify into that armbar once they've got that hold on it. And all Shopify can do, it's like a Chinese finger trap. You continue to just play into it and lose so much more. Brock is now fully engulfed in this push, and while he is taking Darkest and QOR for that matter down to 10 seconds on the clock, that is the furthest he'll go. And he's got a world of clearing to do. He'll somehow get away with the early sewer clear, but Spaz is still on the way back, and the salvos are available, so he'll have to back away regardless. 2v4 here on the post plant. That looks pretty well and done here for QOR. Again, well executed. The right type of speed, the right type of punishment. That has been so crucial to these attack or these.
Player standing.
Yes, these attacking rounds so far. Excuse me.
There you are.
Brock will begin to execute. He's the only one who can at this point, and he is the only one he'll get. 3 stay up. Core keep this cycle going, and this half nice and interesting.
Oh, yeah. No, it's completely swung all the way back around. The fact that Core are able to get that key ultimate from BCJ out early without finding any value whatsoever, that's got to be massive for Core. They're so close to getting a Rolling Thunder online on their own as well. Darkest 1 away from that one. And Timotino did use the Blade Storm there, feeling it a little bit, given the fact that they did have a Vandal in hands. But still, at this point, Shopify Rebellion Black, they take a timeout. We're not seeing that same value that Pate was able to get on those previous rounds. Is just getting shut down this time around from Core. They're doing a good job at keeping this Neon in check. Now a lot of those buffs have been kind of removed. You can't just let that thing run around and absolutely sweep up your team anymore. So curious to see how Shopify Rebellion start to bounce back from this one. They're going to be on a bit of a save coming into this next round, but we've seen them do crazy things on saves. Thinking about round 2 right now, so I wouldn't count them out just quite yet. The question is, though, Core have to make sure that they keep calm, make sure that they are continuing to clear things out so that plays like this can't just happen, get down to these really difficult situations where suddenly Brock can come alive and completely shut things down. So as we kind of come out of this timeout, let's see what they've been talking about.
I really just would like to see them play a bit farther back. I think they're getting so psyched out by how ineffective A post plants are, but truthfully, with the comp that they have, it's kind of perfect for a Link Flood. I would love to see them give the benefit of the doubt to themselves and give Core sight early on, but the thing is, they've been allowed to play for time as well, because Core has taken so darn long to get there a lot of the time, so Shopify, they're encased in this strange purgatory of whether or not we actually decide to take this fight, not because we know we could, but because, or because, you know, we know that the next one is weaker, but just, we don't know when we're gonna get this next opportunity. Core keeping that window nice and tight. I'll try to again on this early A lane push. Literally 0 presence in sewer this time. Everybody's gonna be posted up a little farther back. But that's what Core want, because that'll lead them to have more room to default, more room to window shop.
Honestly, what you're hoping there is that you get a lot of that salvo stuff out of the way, so it'll be a lot easier to engage onto one of these sites. Talk about how disruptive that utility can be and messing up your pushes forwards. If it gets expended for free, then you don't have to worry about that on the entry anymore.
Left.
It's a very important tool if used properly, but now, 30 seconds in, this is going to be the flood in coming in from Core.
Really paranoia to shut down Timotino, but that's the only one they shut down, and hell, Timotino's the one that gets the freaking frag! Now the rest of Shopify do have guns and presence on site, but neither are really strong enough. Paint makes a decent case, but he's the only one who can with those headshots that continue to ring through. Brock will do a little bit of stalling, but Darkest is going to get this spike down just in time. Core continue to cut it close. Half the time it's purposeful, half the time it's Shopify just continuing to make things difficult as can be regardless. Core take the lead.
Yeah, they're finally in the lead. Haven't seen that happen in this series just quite yet, besides just those pistol rounds. So now they're going to start to roll things forwards here. Paint able to get the overdrive online, given the fact that the weaponry is looking a little bit sparse here. Save up for that next round. I'm anticipating to see just a flood out from that Neon. And quite frankly, if this is a very well executed flood, then I think that they're going to be doing a good job at being able to shut some people down. I take that back. Paint actually going for the operator this time. And so playing this long range duel against the Darkest could potentially shut down this ultimate here, and Darkest actually is able to find the first shot.
He's been winning a good deal of these sniper duels against Paint. Very concerning going forward. Not for Darkest, that's for sure. He's going to hold on to the bloody thing. Timotino wants to cook on the front line a little bit harder, as it appears. We'll do a little switch up of roles, switch up of angles. I love this work as a duo that they're doing right now. Very slow, clear, very methodical.
And on top of that too, Shopify's so aware that that Rolling Thunder is available, and so that's why you see them playing so spread out. At this point, it does feel like Spas is going to be the one to try and bait that ultimate out. As soon as it happens, though, then you can imagine we're going to be seeing the salvos, everything just kind of getting tossed in to potentially stall it. But If the Rolling Thunder gets no value, then that is a good sign for Shopify.
Salvo's not tossed, and Spike not planted. Now the Teho on the real push, Snarly just accepting his fate.
Boom!
The perfect entrapment, and Shopify's patience will pay off this time. It will have to be B-side. It is no longer a choice. It is a necessity for Core to go here. And now they're at a disadvantage in the 3v2. Darkest still uncertain about this, because nothing's cleared.
10 seconds left.
Gotta just hold this down. Staring it down with the operator. That is mean. And he's already been sussed out. Down to half HP, and BCJ dodges the first shot. It just feels like there's far too much pressure already, and Shopify's not even fully in the fight. They're on site, though, and they're just going to go for the spike instead. Spaz can hold it down for free, at least halfway, until the Aftershock will actually catch him for the kill. 2v2 now, and Darkest feels a little more confident. BCJ on the blind gets caught by Darkest, and Brock has to follow suit. Now on the spike, first tap, Darkest caught, but Nerve not! And Core are the ones to wrap that round up. 6-4 now for them.
Oh my goodness me, it feels like maybe the pressure getting to Shopify Rebellion, just a couple of missed timings. I'm not too sure if that was just trying to wait in case someone else comes out there, but in that close scenario, you just gotta go for it. You gotta secure that kill, because Darkest has been lighting things up. Pancakes being able to at least keep this one competitive, and then immediately you see Brock use that Armageddon. But these are such silly mistakes that are going on here that allow Core to be able to find so much value out of that site. That should have been a Shopify Rebellion round, but it just slips through their fingers. You know what? Never mind. Darkest actually slaps it right out of their hands. As Core now finds 6. 2 more rounds left in this half.
So we'll see Shopify definitely take that sewer presence this time. No op duel to be had. Instead, it's Brock with the close range gun. Owldrone is going to do a lot, so Shopify have to bite the bullet and just go for the fight. Paint on overdrive, gets blinded immediately by Nerve, and he'll help get one more before he goes down. Core facilitate the counter push perfectly, and they'll take a Neon ult along with it. Everybody going there. And that's a nice clean round yet again to guarantee the lead exiting the half here for Core.
And maybe this is the reason why Neon is no longer being so viable. You know, you go for those aggressive pushes, you're hoping for a bunch, but instead it's just, you know, Core waiting for you to push out there and ready to pounce on top of you. Excellent little just kind of trap play going, and at that point you're so committed, you just got to go for it. So at this point, Core just continuing to gain momentum. They've completely swung back around from what we've seen on that last map, and this is looking like it's in their control. Honestly, like, I'm super impressed right now of just the read that they've got out onto them. It was just an excellent paranoia, and then the rest of the team are just watching those angles, watching for them to push out of A main, and just gunning them down. So well read from Core. Shopify Rebellion Black. This is that last round to potentially get that 7-5 score line, but with how Core have been playing, it's not going to be an easy round.
See Paint already heading down that lane with the op, has fully cleared it. Big stack up A main as well for an early interception if they recognize Paint being here. One way or another, Shopify look to Venus Flytrap Core. And if not, then they'll converge on the B point. Not paying attention to that right now. Owldrone will be the first proc of that operator from Paint. Second guessing his position. If Darkest is all the way into garage as well. And so is Cimatino. You don't get an easy fight there, Paint. Another perfect crunch. Finding the weak point here for Shopify's defensive haven.
Spike planted.
Man, it's like we've got like a Freaky Friday situation going on here. Before Pain and BCJ, the duelists and initiators were the ones lighting it up for Shopify Rebellion. But this time around, it's Simtimo and Darkest on the other side, just completely fragging out of their minds. Shopify Rebellion don't even stand a chance against this dynamic duo. Core have just been immaculate on this first half once they started to get momentum. And they will close things out 8-4. Going to be seeing that swap now, but Shopify Rebellion Black, they gotta start pulling it back together. This is when you get that mental reset moment. Let's see what they've got on their attack.
Really tremendous work there from Core. something that's replicable on the defense, something that's not easy to contain either, especially if the op is that interchangeable. We'll see if Darkest continues to go for plays like that, as has Brock on that operator, where it's attempting to divert and like recondition where the duelist is planted. But certainly going to be a little bit tougher on this side, as well just about everything else for Core. Paint going to show why he wanted to choose this character in this early pistol round. Gonna get up close and personal with this A site, let Shopify on pretty cleanly, and this is more of the old guard haven of that take and then the post plant execute from Link, but Core is gonna look a lot stronger and a little earlier. Actually do some really decent damage to Shopify. Paint's gone, Spaz is gone, and so no real easy way to hold this, especially if you're together. AJ's luckily on the way back, so it'll be a full-fledged fight for the retake, but smoke's still available for Core. Nerve has only one, so Sewer, not a guarantee, but Shopify, they're going for a full-on wraparound here. First the Aftershock onto the spike, but Nerve! Great shots on the BCJ as he runs away. Perfect read, and now it's Pancakes to just enter for 2 for 3! He'll do it all his goddamn self! 5-8 now for Shopify.
The Cypher just dancing around in the air, put the bullets back into the Ghost, and then suddenly just ready to just click heads again. Unbelievable clutch coming in from Pancakes, but, you know, at this point, Shopify Rebellion Black, given the fact they're not seeing as much success coming through from Paint and BCJ, you need these other players to start stepping it up, and that's an excellent way to start things off. Pancakes an absolute clutch here, able to get that reloaded and find the headshot through the wallbang. So get that pistol round, pull yourselves back into this. But Core still very much a threat. And you can see that Shopify Rebellion Black, they're playing a lot more disciplined, playing a lot more respectful to how Core is setting up their defense. They do have that weapon advantage. Timo as well as Logan coming in with Sheriffs. Surprisingly, Darkest does not have that, despite the fact they've been fragging out really hard. Stealth Drone gets a little bit of information here, but I think it's simply just to try and deter Core from pushing out or gaining any knowledge of that map.
Yeah, try and get a little more of a stack out of it. See if you can sacrifice any util, and to be fair, you do get a smoke out of it. But Nerve will have one back for whoever Shopify choose to attack next. Seeing if anybody poked in early. Trek down a lane. Good backdoor checking from Shopify here on the push. Making sure nobody got a little creative. They didn't. They're freely into B site, safe and sound.
And yeah, on top of that too, like, given the Tejo's salvos, it just guarantees that you're able to clear out a lot more of those spots. You see Paint fly in. They've got a good understanding of how this comp should work.
First Aftershock onto Spike on the top. Core ready to cycle this pretty cleanly. Pancakes, good flank watch to get the one. The rest of Core has to sort of just pile on. And some good damage done by Snarly, but looks like that's all that'll get done. Timotino will get swarmed now that he's by himself. So Shopify, you won't be able to do that once you have rifles, if there are smokes available, but you can do that this round.
Okay, all right, here we go again. Everyone strap on for the roller coaster, because this is going to be where things could potentially swing around. Where it looks like Shopify Rebellion are really well practiced and they're looking really good. If that first half of the map taught us anything, it could go any other way. So far, I will say, I wonder how much of this is, you know, Darkest being so confident off of that first half, trying to go for these, assuming that they can just win the fights out without getting too much. And I'm worried that that is going to be a problem for Core. So I want to see Darkest playing a little bit more disciplined in these upcoming rounds.
Well, he'll take a more precarious position over and Link for now. As Shopify will gas their way over to C site. Pancakes is once again in and once again good for one. But the rest of Shopify, not necessarily so lucky on the garage push, so we are a little worse for wear walking into this fight, but that's what Shopify were prepared for. This is the bonus after all. Pain gonna try his hand at a couple kills. He'll get one with this Guardian. And now Timotino gonna see that as the go signal to enter. On top of the flash, he will not get anything. Shopify will barely escape that. I should say Brock will barely escape that. Now the double initiator trying to swing properly. BCJ pretty damn good 4-3. And Shopify will steal away the bonus as well.
Is it just like the attacking half? Suddenly the breaches just come alive? Like, what was going on there? BCJ has been getting shut down on this map. Was not getting any value whatsoever, being one of the first people to die. And then as soon as they swap around, suddenly BCJ is completely online. I do got to give a shout out to Pancakes, sorry, for just being so disruptive lately. I feel like Pancakes has been doing a great job at being that real big thorn in Core's side. They're making sure that Core is not just getting away with a lot of this stuff for free. And it's making it so much more difficult for them to scrape together these rounds. Shopify Rebellion Black, 1 round away from potentially tying this map up. Darkest is watching just Garage, making sure that no one is going to be going through there while the flood in is happening, but a little bit of information at least given away as to where those Core players are playing.
Pretty heavy stack here. Darkest the first to aggress it. All of course swings out and they all find purchase. Nerve in fact still standing. Great shots by Core down the lane to give them a man advantage. And if they want to get really crazy, a gun? Oh yeah, Nerve's got a rifle.
Okay, and we see the slow Scooby-Doo rotation onto that A site. Nice and slow while the enemy is just behind you on the other side of the map, also having a very similar idea. Shopify Rebellion will hopefully be able to get that spike down, but it actually looks like Core are just going to be playing this 3-man stack. Given the fact that Nerve has that rifle and the other two have Sheriffs, going to be actually playing a little bit more aggressive. I take it back. They've actually got the wrong read. They're moving over to that C site. So this should give Shopify Rebellion Black a little bit more time to set
Groups of
themselves
freshmen
up.
looking for the frat party. And Core is going to stay this stacked. Going into the link push.
Cover going out.
Again, it's got to all be on Nerve here. He does have a smoke, does have the paranoia, so many entry tools. Spaz is keyed up in a spot where he can't really exit from. It's got to be Pancakes, but Logan locks down the shot, lickety split, and hands the round to Core in, quite frankly, the perfect time to do so.
Oh, man. Yeah. So once again, Core right back into things. And, you know, Pancakes got stuck with a little bit of option paralysis. Walks into the smoke, expecting only to see one, expecting them to spread out a little bit. But at that point, Core were just like, ape strong together. We stick together, and that way we can never die. And it works perfectly. You get caught in these weird moments, but honestly, just great crossfire being set up here. I do want to say, like, Shopify Rebellion Black, they had a pretty good idea in trying to turn things around, but unfortunately not enough. So 2 rounds now separating. Shopify do have 3 ultimates online, but Core have 2 as well. And if Snarly's able to find at least 1 more ultimate orb, then a neural theft available. Speaking of ape strong together, Shopify Rebellion Black, all 5 of them, they're balling up and moving in on to C.
Camera taken out.
And they'll keep that mentality for the ultimate as well. Upon the Rolling Thunder, easy entry. Logan gets 2 with the Hunter's Fury all the way from downtown. And yet again, the round is reduced to nothingness in an instant by Core. Perfect reaction time and a perfect ultimate to just stop the one channel that Shopify were all coming from.
Maybe the apes shouldn't stick together. Maybe that's not the move.
That was I'm like hearing Logan in my head calming while he's doing the Hunter's Fury. He's like, all of them are there. They're all there.
Just look at your screen. I know we can't ping anymore, but please, they're right there. Yeah, it just like it works out perfectly for the team. Core basically didn't even have to get into a gunfight in order to win out that map, win out that round, just simply because they were all grouped up, and then the Hunter's Fury gets a ridiculous value. So Shopify Rebellion Black will be using their second time out here, as the things are slowly slipping away from them. A potential map 3 just on the other side. We do a split queued up if we need to go there, but This is a much different story than how
This is
map
a
one
core
went.
that's looking far more coordinated, far more adept. And I think everyone is coming in with just a bit more of a set plan. Unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily stop Shopify Rebellion's mechanics from being as good as they are. But they have started to have to isolate themselves a little more because of that confidence they have in fights, because of that confidence they have that they bring into these plans. The attack has them scatter a little bit, has Paint, you know, wander a little bit, has Brock hold quite a bit of the responsibility when it comes to fragging power on site. And it forces the issue to the point where sometimes the other team is just going to force it for you. Core, huge swing out from Sewer.
Down A.
Funny, that didn't work a single time for Shopify Rebellion this half. The first time Core does it, it works perfectly. Pancake's the last one remaining, and he's had quite a few hero moments already this game, but this would be such a tall ask. Effectively a 1v4 with the spike in one of the most cheeky cutoff spots imaginable, right in that doorway to Sewer. So many checkpoints you have to cross off, but 55 seconds to go. We'll see what he can do.
At this point, I imagine, given the fact that Pancakes does have the ultimate online, should just be looking to try and punish the economy a little bit more for Core. But it's not going to be the most effective tool, and oh no. Just not watching the other side. Core will find that final kill, make sure that rifle gets no value in dark. It's one ultimate orb away now from that rolling thunder, as it really just doesn't seem like Core can be stopped. Like Shopify Rebellion Black have just been having such a difficult time at finding really anything. And Core, on the other hand, right now, it feels like they're just coming up good every single time. Like they take that gunfight, they take that aggression in a short, and they win it out. Like where it felt like Shopify Rebellion Black should have been able to go. There was a Bucky, there's like submachine guns and stuff like that. Nerve somehow just steals their nerves and is able to just spray them down with that Phantom. It gets stifled, and now Core are 2 rounds away from forcing out map number 3. Shopify Rebellion Black have fallen a little bit short here on Haven.
Yeah, Core have really gotten to flaunt their dominance as of these past couple rounds. And Shopify, this is the last round in which they'll have rifles and potentially ults to answer in what would be Core's penultimate win. Smokes up for Shopify Rebellion Black's push onto A site as Pancakes continues to wait it out on the push on the lane. Oh, Starly missed the opportunity. Spike gets cleanly planted down, but a far more entertaining fight will conclude. Pancakes will abandon ship and go help out the rest of the team for the post plant, which has already started. It's a 4v4 for basically the sake of the game. Timatino drops down, immediately intercepted by BCJ. Recon Bolt to catch the rest of the site. Paint's position is locked down, but Spaz is still on this site, and Paint's just going to unleash the ult for good measure as well. Logan on, and as always, good for one, but BCJ continues to shut down. Paint just spraying with the ultimate. He's tired of it, and he'll get one before he's shut down in the crossfire. Time starting to wane away, become a factor. Core will have to entry, and off of the fault line timing, it's just about perfect from Shopify Rebellion. They still somehow will lose Spaz along the way, but that's all they will lose this time. 8-11 for Shopify, as one round of recovery placated off of a Cypher duel for the ages will keep them alive in this game.
And it almost felt like the reason why Shopify Rebellion Black were able to be so successful is because Core hyper-focused onto Pancakes all the way onto that C site. If Snarly was able to find that kill right off the bat, I think that this would have been a little bit of a different story. Shopify would have had a much harder time getting in onto the site, but they just completely zoned in on that Cypher fight. And as a result of that, like, Core had to back up and then push into them. A couple of ultimates get expended. Timatino using the blades there, but still the Core economy is skyrocketing. I wonder too how much of this is an impact given the fact that we have this Neon instead of like a traditional jet, or lately we've been seeing Yoru as well on Haven as well. Paint doesn't feel like he's getting as much value as one of those other more traditional duelists, and is more or less just getting kind of picked off without real exit escape pattern, except for just kind of running away. So ultimate already expended.
Like I said, very much a drip or drown at this point. That's the way her kit works, and Paint's been treading water just barely these past few rounds. Shopify gonna pick up the pieces though, and Brock with quite the entry this round. Barreling down C site is Shopify Rebellion Black, reducing this to a 2v4, make it a 1v4 as Timotino's operator is finally not a factor. Logan will be saving after this round as Core's economy, as you said, very much weakened by these past couple crucial rounds that Shopify has been able to clutch on to. But really, both teams are just crawling on all fours to this finish line. Shopify, for the sake of their first match of the Swiss core, for another hand in it.
Yeah, I want to talk about that Neon pick yet again, though, because it really just doesn't feel like it's getting as much value as you would necessarily want it to. We're seeing Paint be that hyper-aggressive duelist that you would expect a Neon player to kind of play off of. But I don't think that that style really works with the squeaky clean game plan that we've talked about Shopify Rebellion having. We're seeing Paint more or less out of position in very weird scenarios. And Core are ready to just punish that. I mean, they're playing in these weird angles, playing off where you would normally not expect them. And they're just popping out and seeing Paint completely isolated. And so they're able to shut that duelist down. Given the fact that Paint was so effective at finding so many kills in that first half, really just hasn't got online as we've seen in the previous matchups. Meanwhile, I mean, we're seeing Timotino get a little bit more value off of being in the right place at the right time, but the real big highlight for Core right now is Nerve. I think that the Paranoias have been fantastic coming in from that Omen and, well, just getting so much value and so many kills off of it. We're seeing now a nice little highlight reel for BCJ coming alive, but I don't know. It's really hard to predict where this map is going to go as Core take their time out.
I couldn't agree more. I think Nerve has been such an essential part of Core's resurgence here. Like you said, the Paranoia timing has been absolutely immaculate and facilitating not just the duelists, but honestly, more often than not, the initiators of Core to get active. Logan and Darkest have been skating around these smokes so effortlessly on these retakes. That's half the time. Core doesn't even need the supporting util. They just need the guys. That's what made this team so terrifying from time to time. That's what makes it so scary here. It's still a 2-round gap on him. Shopify Rebellion, Black quickly behind, on top of the stun into the Armageddon. Timotino is caught, reduced to 5 HP, but still standing with Operator in hand. Shopify Rebellion, they will take that ultimate heed. It's word and head over to C-Site, where we do have quite a bit laying in wait for you. Snarly and Nerve all the way back in the lane, and it will be an attempted garage push into it from the window.
That's
very
great.
close is Darkest. He'll get early punished. And the salvo from Brock to flush out the site.
Excellent.
Shopify Rebellion completely overwhelmed C this time. And that looks as refined as we wanted it to back in the beginning of the game as well. This should be an easy 10-11, and looks like Timo and Logan know that too.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing in the changeup of strategy here, first of all, if you're Shopify Rebellion Black, you might be a little bit frustrated with how that went because you wanted to make sure you drop that operator. The fact that Timotino stays alive with 5 HP is like, oh man, like we should have had that kill, but they do an excellent job of moving back over to C. And this is one of those things. If you think that the other team is just better at the cage match brawl, where you're just going in, shooting each other, aiming for the best, all of that type of stuff, then start to play a little bit more creatively. Start to play a little bit more tricky, and you might be able to find just a bit more. And we're seeing that based on how they kind of went about their flood in onto that C site. They were not just moving in as a death ball onto the site, hoping for the best type of thing. They actually were going in through different lanes, and that resulted in the confusion that we saw the members of Core having on that C site. And that's why they were looking in the wrong direction, completely just disrupted by the utility flooding in onto C. And what should have been an easy hold completely gets dismantled. And that's because of all these weird angles that we see Shopify Rebellion going through. And of course, Brock, the highlight player so far on this attacking half, is able to find so much value and is really this, is being more of a spearhead than Paint on executing on these sites.
Brock has been loving Tejo and loving what you can do with Tejo a lot more than the other North American players that have had to pick him up in the advent of his meta. And we're really starting to see that love and passion for this agent, I think, coming from Brock this game. Like you said, he's been kind of pushing the envelope even more than Paint in a lot of rounds, not just with the salvo, but with the stun. It's been hard to find value for a lot of these players with it over the course of these past couple weeks, and all the while, Brock has been doing a great job of just boxing out people with it from push to push. Everything very well timed. Remainder of Shopify, same could be said, as they'll continue to hold it down in the lane, see if they can flush out any more util. They will go out Logan's recon dart, but that'll just be a mutual trade of information as Logan is sussed out by a little skitterer. Not the best guns for Core, so they'll get up close and personal with this round, meaning Pain is the one most in danger. Brock inside the Paranoia is able to at least counteract onto Darkest, but Shopify, they've been cut into, and they have a guy holding down C-Set anyway, so they will confidently take that instead. Camera, though, coming from Snarly will alert Core a little earlier than they'd intended.
Yeah, I don't know if I still agree with this right now because you're giving Core plenty of time to do something. Pancakes has to be the difference maker, and actually we're seeing Core be a little bit more indecisive as the call actually gets made. They're going to go on to be Pancakes still in an excellent position.
10 seconds to go, and yeah, Pancakes is super well inserted, but Core can converge on it if they want to. Oh no, they don't have time. Nerve has got to wait to step out. Shopify Rebellion this round and this round only. They have the room, they have the space, they have the gun advantage to be able to get away with a plant like that. But not necessarily a post plant like this. Nerve first swing onto BCJ, and the site is under the control of Core. Oopsie, Pancakes now has to step out a little too early, and now he can hold down the run up from the B door. Nerve has not smoked that out, and that means everybody can spray through it. Shopify Rebellion Black. That should be enough time, and people wasted this round. Nerve the only one left standing for Core, and Smoke on himself. Hey, perfect timing until they walk in on you. Make a wish, Mark. We're tied up.
Oh boy, 11-11. Shopify Rebellion, I mean, like I said, I think that was an excellent little rotation. That kind of went in there. I was a little bit concerned if they went C because there were plenty of time for Core to be able to get their members set up. And then we see Core second guess themselves. And actually, we see Shopify Rebellion go for that B instead. And that was the right move. Pancakes inserted in an excellent position, takes that gunfight so smart so that the neural theft, I'll make sure that Snarly is not able to find that kill. Really just a bit of a cypher diff coming in from Shopify Rebellion Black, but they do an excellent job at sticking together at the end there. Instead of just kind of anticipating, yeah, we got the rifles, you know, we can just outgun them. We've got the bigger gun and therefore it is more powerful. Despite the fact that Core have been doing a fantastic job with sheriffs in their hands. And so they play it nice and safe. And it's the initiator duo coming in from Shopify Rebellion Black to make sure that we get across the finish line on most of these rounds. Brock, once again, just a highlight player on this attacking half.
And it's T-Dog as well, working with that initiator util to not only set up Brock, but Pain as well. I think he's, sorry, BCJ, excuse me. I'm still Cubert brain. BCJ has been absolutely insane on this breach util so far to open things up on the other side. That flush play that we just saw onto Nerve for the C push was absolutely fantastic. And I think it should be said, BCJ's headshot rate last week was, I think, like 15%. He's almost tripled that. This match so far. He has been absolutely unreal.
And once again, I really have to highlight how Pancakes has been playing because sure, it's not necessarily, we've seen some of the flashier plays, but that Cypher lurking has been getting Shopify Rebellion Black so much space around the map. They always have a backup just in case they need it. This time around though, we're seeing that death ball come through. Let's see if it works out for Shopify.
Another aftershock to flush out Snarly this time, and we'll go ahead and get on into sight with this TP. Paranoia out from Spaz. It's a little narrow, though, so you haven't covered everything. You've got to rely on Paint to do the fragging, and he hasn't exactly been as reliable so far this game with that, has he? Brock will take in the inside, though, and yeah, these two initiators, they got to cover, don't worry. Brock and BCJ, can't live with him, can't live without him. 3 for the Tejo this round, and SRB hold match point.
Brock still staying alive throughout all of that. Has 20 kills, almost rivaling Nerve here, but I once again have to focus in on that Paint pick onto Neon. We're not really seeing the Neon get the value that we would want. Really is just a decoy for the rest of the team to be able to fly in there. You see this retreat try to happen and try to find something, but just not able to get anything. And meanwhile, it's that Rolling Thunder, an excellent timing from BCJ to make sure that the rest of the team are set up to get those frags there. It's going to be another fast attack onto the A site. Logan immediately backing out of that one, wants nothing to do with the site. But as Shopify Rebellion just slow down the push for a second, this could give Core time to regroup.
And amp it right back up with the Armageddon. That's the link flushed away again, but Timotino is still in and still good for a kill. Aftershock to flush him away, and BCJ will finally make that null and void, giving them the ace site. Core still have a lot of resources, but Shopify have all the space they should need here. BCJ and Brock are decently chipped at. Anybody's fight to take us to overtime or to take us out of the match one way or the other comes down to this. The culmination of where both of these teams were headed, not just in the previous week, but this one.
Oh, no
BCJ
way.
is still watching. Darkest, good for nothing. Entry out from Snarly, still unchecked so far, but Core a little too slow to the punch. Logan and Snarly both swing out from on high, from on low. They're both each good for one. And Paincake's only good for one himself. Core keep two standing in the post plant and are able to make the push work and take us to overtime.
Snarly and Logan, the coordination coming through. Two players at the bottom of the scoreboard for Core. Guardians in hand. And they're like, yeah, you're going to need some Guardians on your end, Shopify. Boom, headshot. Boom, headshot. And then walk through and find two more to close out the round, forcing this OT. Whereas it looked like Shopify Rebellion were going to be steamrolling through. Excellent plays coming in from BCJ, but once again, Logan and Snarly, excellent timings, almost high-fiving after they find their shots. Core are not out of this yet. As we go into overtime, Shopify Rebellion will be starting us out on this defense now. As a reminder, Core, they need to win this map if they want to send us the split. Otherwise, Shopify Rebellion Black will crawl their way out of a winless season thus far. But it's only been one match, so that's kind of fair. You know, for dramatic effect.
Yeah. A smoke sandwich in A lane here that Core will let themselves into. Shopify continue to stack on B for safekeeping. Least common denominator is covered first. Timotino, beautiful updraft scurry over to the top lane. That's taken down Brock. Bait will be forced out into A Link, and already a fantastic start to this Core attack. Very early post play coming in from Paint, and he still can't get a kill. Core have all the cards now, and all of the players. Literally all of them. A flawless round 25. The worst kind of omen walking into OT2. Shopify, we're about to go to 3 if they don't pick it up.
Oh, man. Yeah, honestly, it's looking more and more likely that that is going to be the case. To be fair, we did see Shopify be a little bit more dominant on their attacking half. But you got to imagine that pressure is starting to mount. Meanwhile, Nerve just sitting on a mountain of kills. Feels like this Omen has ascended, understood where everyone is on the server at all times as their location's downloaded. Finding so much value just spraying through smokes and everything. Nerve has been unstoppable. And now Shopify Rebellion Black, they need to find this round to force out another OT. Otherwise, Core, this is going to be a huge momentum boost for them as if we enter into map number 3.
2-3 setup from Core here. Nerve on the blocks. Shopify waiting to see if anybody could have invaded for the lurk.
Shadows traveling.
There's the drone. Pick things up as soon as it catches Nerve. No later. I want to sell that Snarly isn't here, so they'll unload onto solely him. And this cam is very out of the way too. It's a fantastic setup from Snarly, who is still not found, but the Paranoia will catch him. They were ready for it, but not Nerve, who will find 2 before going down. And a 3v3 post plant with Spaz gone, so no smokes on either side. Great shock dart to catch BCJ, get him down to some chipped health. And now he and Pancakes are stranded in the middle of his site. Not enough knowledge of where this garage peak may be to safely extend back out. And so Brock will take that initiative and enter himself back onto the block as Pancakes extends to the link, finds one. BCJ helps him out, and it's down to just Darkest, who can't find one as well. Shopify Rebellion Black save themselves and take us to OT2.
Switching sides.
The Baroctagon and the Pancakes coming through to make sure that Shopify live to breathe another round. Double overtime now. They take down the raid boss and Nerve while keeping Brock alive. And you know, we're talking about Brock quite a bit, but the rest of the team as well has been doing a pretty good job for Shopify Rebellion. I mean, you look at their scores and it's all looking pretty darn good. We've also been critiquing Paint quite a bit on this Neon, but at the same time is still finding value. And honestly, like, you don't want to take away from that at all. It's just not the similar performance that we would have really expected based off of that last game. If Paint was putting up the numbers as we saw in that last map, then this would have been done and dusted, but just isn't able to get as much value. First fight going, Timotino is going to come out on top.
That's a big gap found by Timotino and a lot of health that he's able to hold on to after that fight too. And now you have no true flash on your way in. For a post plant, Core, they'll kind of just get to insert into A for free, and it looks like they're recognizing that. Paint needs one here.
Oh no!
Okay, duck back. Here's the blind. That's your position lost. He's gonna hold down for a closer one. On the stun, on top of the salvo. What a combo
There
play!
we go.
That will get Paint 3 on the chip! Oh, except Nerve gets out, but still. Great communication. A perfectly timed punish by the stack of Shopify. But Core do now have C-Site for free thanks to that.
30 seconds left.
Everybody had to commit to that counterplay in order to even equalize. And so Core, still a solid health pool, have a site all to themselves. And a LeBron trapwire is none of their concern. Okay, it's Logan's concern.
Yeah, just for good measure, you know? But all right, now Shopify coming back into this one. Looking at the utility coming through. No longer have that paranoia. Salvos are available for Brock as well, though. Paint does have one more slide. So I'm imagining that Shopify should be pretty good to move in on this death ball. Style Snarly inside of the smoke. Just ducking out just in time here. Looking at it, but does get traded out.
Remaining.
Snarly still manages to find one before Paint's escapade as a little demon goblin who runs around you, being really annoying. Wears off. Which, you know what? If that's the role Paint's taking, if Paint can't kill right now, if he's just gonna run around in front of you going, look at me, look at me, look at me, while the rest of Shopify Rebellion does the killing, hell, go for it, dude. That being said, Paint has taken the top frag spot, 23, 21, 4. Look at those assist numbers, dude. 20 for BCJ, 19 for Spaz. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and on top of that too, like we were talking about Paint really highlighting him in that last round there, but at the same time, it was Brock with the salvos to just add that little bit more chip damage, allowing Paint to get such good value. Paint and Brock both sitting at 23 kills now. This is potentially for Shopify Rebellion to win out this series.
There.
Core, they got it stabilized now. They're the ones looking a little bit nervous. The utility combination is ready to go. Paranoia going out here to deny any space being taken off, as it's just a gunfight right outside of A-Long.
Super hard aggress with the Paranoia as well, but with one fast lane, Paint can shroud all of Shopify, and Core, they have no util to offer for the fight, so they have to duck back. That is now a Paranoia gone, Aftershock, Blind, and your Recon for now. So Core have to reset. Shopify do too, though. As with that barrage, Core can sell that somebody might have lurked up. That's why you still have this 2 on C. And the drone will suss out the Cypher util while the rest of Shopify continues to scrounge around A site, see if they can pick up any table scraps.
They took the bait.
BCJ is inserted. This is crazy. Snarly will catch BCJ on that insert. Put up the sewer. That's a step heard.
Oh, no.
And Shopify aren't turning around. Darkest can get a kill for free. No, Spaz turns around. Logan can intercept
30
though.
seconds left.
Spaz saves face. And it's a 2-for-2 trade. Making this a 2v3 here now for Shopify. Everybody holding on to this round with butterfingers, but 15 seconds on the clock and not a guaranteed sight for SRB. But not a guaranteed kill here for Core. A walk on to A site, and it's free again. They still got smokes. The salvo will be back on the timer. Anything is possible here. Is it the match or is it OT3? Let's find out.
Soon Logan will have that recon dart available. I love the way that Brock is inserted. Salvo's going to get live now.
Very early on top of the push. The second he hears those steps or the drop. But Nerve could easily sandwich this, and so it's got to be sooner than later. Snarly's on top of it and wins the fight against Spaz after the swing. Brock can re-shut it down, though, but that's far too late. You got too much in front of you, too much behind you, too much above you. Nerve drops down, gets that kill he was waiting for, and Core will take us to overtime number 3.
Oh man, just when you see the team win on their opposite side of what is favored, then Core do the exact same thing. Round 28 down.
Switching sides.
I think we're in quadruple overtime at this point.
Wait until
Might only be triple overtime, but still, what a last round. I was looking so close. If we saw Spaz be able to win out that duel, then it would have been over for Core. For sure. But the fact that we get to see Snarly win that out allows Core to have that breath of fresh air. You see then the different floods from those different angles works out perfectly, whereas they could have potentially isolated themselves into these 1vx scenarios against Shopify Rebellion Black. You don't want to be going up against Brock if you're not swinging together, and that element of surprise works out simply just because Snarly finds that kill. Shopify Rebellion, they're now taking this timeout, looking at what they can do here to win things out, because Core are not letting go of the rope. They are holding on for dear life and dragging Shopify Rebellion Black through the mud.
Yeah, Snarly and Logan are only getting more confident with their dry swings. Timotino is only getting more consistent with his pickoffs. Darkest is continuing to play a factor in enabling all of these guys. He's up to 17 assists. Oh my God. And Nerve is 27, 17, 11 on the Omen right now. Absolutely unbelievable map from him so far on enabling and disabling respectively. We'll see if he can do it again for this attack round in, yes, OT number 3 with Core starting to stack in the courtyard. This mid play has been a bit of a weak point for both teams during overtime. We'll see if anybody tries to play into it now.
Spaz getting a little bit aggressive. 3 members of Core just outside here. This could be deadly, but able to escape. Tosses out the paranoia to deter anybody, but Snarly finding that first kill on a paint is not how you want to start this out for Shopify Rebellion Core. Now we're going to be flooding in onto the C site.
Big push here, and the flash is a little too late. Spaz can't get a kill either, 5v3, and now the paranoia into pancakes, and the insertion is perfect. Core, 1 by 1, they have SRB fall. On top of a flash out for Brock and BCJ, they make the fight a little interesting, but only momentarily. Core, now on game point again.
Switching sides.
I got so nervous there watching Nerve miss those shots. You can tell the pressure is absolutely mounting. And at that moment, like Nerve missing that, that's not good at all, because that allows players like Brock to stay alive and potentially allow Shopify Rebellion to win out that round. But thankfully, the rest of the team is there. Teamwork does, in fact, make the dream work. This Core find themselves on that match point, are going to be taking this time out now to re-strategize, figure out what makes sense here to really close this one out. This is the half that they tend to be a little bit more shakier on. Shopify Rebellion have looked better on this attack. But I'm so curious how this goes. Snarly finding that first pick on the paint was so important as well. I mean, it was just like, that was just a clean round of fun Valorant coming out from Core.
But it's emblematic of all the mistakes we've seen Shopify Rebellion make this map as well. Having someone peak just a little too early, and then a Core taking that and turning it into almost a game of disrespect, seeing how much they can push Shopify Rebellion Black to like re-engage with the fight and say, oh no, we're not losing one for no reason. We can fight this out. We can trade this back. And how many times this game have we seen Core deny that and grab a second player before a fight's even really started? It's just been so many micro moments of overconfidence from Shopify Rebellion. And it's really tough, because it's a position that you should be in when you're the kind of player that you are if you're on a team like that. And it's what has gotten these bottom fraggers in Snarly and Logan so activated in the later part of this game as well.
No more charges left.
Okay, Snarly is going to be able to back out here. The information is given, already gets taken down. It's going to be a free plant. Core went for a bit more of a gamble just outside of A, used a lot of utility as well.
Yeah.
So Shopify Rebellion Black, they got to be aware of how deep this flank is going to be going just off of that one trip.
There is an army waiting along the lane. We'll see how much util the Shopify decide to use in excess towards a push that is not there. No one in garage, no one in link. Shopify not pressing the issue just yet, so they don't have the intel, and with the smoke, they will refuse to allow room for any of it. they'll just wait for the people to come to them. And Timatino will get the party started. Now the salvo on top of this stun to at least shut that part of the push down, but the rest of it has not revealed itself yet. Logan's recon to force out on top of an aftershock from Darkest. That's position given away. Pancakes, perfect turn to allow Shopify Rebellion Black's work to be cut out for them. It will once again be tied up. It will once again be overtime, Marks.
We go again. This is number 4. And man, yeah, like, once again, just an excellent idea coming in from Shopify Rebellion Black. As soon as they realize, wait a second, nobody's on this site. Oh, wait, there is your Starly. Sure, let's just take him out. Where's everyone else? Interesting, okay. And they set themselves up perfectly. I mean, you get the fault line from BCJ just coming into the backside. They got all the cross angles. They realize where the flood is coming from. It was a cute idea from Core, but it simply just is not going to be enough at this point. I genuinely think that they should have potentially just stuck to their meat and potatoes on how they want to play things. And maybe they would have gotten away with a little bit more, but that round just looked easy for Shopify Rebellion.
It's another snake from Garage through Core. It worked the last time. Will it work this time? Pancake stopgap before he can spray through the smoke like he has been so effectively from this position on the C takes. And so Core still have the front half of C to themselves. Salvos to stall. Aftershock to flood away. The boxes are not kind to Core, but Core is not kind to Shopify. Paranoia to begin the fight, but BCJ is the one to be the bell ringer. Darkest and Timatino still space making, but the rest of Shopify has come to play and is here to win. They have match point yet again, 16-15 on the flood back.
Match point.
Oh man, I was like this, like I said, this could be the round, this could be easy, but no, like it's so hard to tell how these are gonna go just simply because of how some of these overtime rounds have gone. As soon as you think that it's one way, completely swaps back around, but Shopify Rebellion Black are ready to put the nail on the coffin. Find themselves at match point yet again. They just need to win this attack. Core not going for that gunbill stack outside of A this time. Looks like it might be a little bit more exploratory outside of B as Logan shoots that recon dart. Immediately, it gets destroyed, so we see reinforcements from Core going over there. We know that Shopify Rebellion like taking that battle outside of A, but given where that stealth drone is, Core have an idea on what's going on.
Nerve is so deeply planted in this. He's going to get checked and completely punished. That smoke's gone for Core. What a risky decision. But Timatino is allowed time to wrap. And the camera, what? The shot, Pancakes, what a turn. Darkest forced to fight early and he's only good for 1. And the dominoes will collapse this time for Shopify Rebellion Black's favor. 4v2 as they enter site, and the Cypher util will stop them only momentarily, as will evidently Core. It is a 2-0 victory. It is a Shopify Rebellion Black win. It is a restabilization of this squad that we were waiting for.
That was a picturesque way to end out this match. Oh man, and I really wonder how much of this was just that pressure mounting on top of Core towards the end there. We see something that was a little bit more unconventional being tried. Core are going for these nifty ideas, and some of those players trying to go for those hero moments where Shopify Rebellion just felt like, you know, during those timeouts, were really just grounding themselves yet again, understanding this could go the distance. Let's just calm things down a little bit. Let's just keep on playing our game and not try anything that might get us caught off guard, because the other team, we got to respect what they're doing. They're going to jump on us. And well, we see those positions where, you know, your top fragger Nerve is just immediately taken out, just try and go for a little bit more of a trickier angle. And as a result of just kind of that switch up, maybe it's just the mental fatigue going on in this marathon of a map. We see Core fall to the wayside as Shopify Rebellion clear them out 2-0.
But the respect level that they paid did show in that match as well, and Core are very much deserving of that respect despite their now 0-2 record. Even still, the harmony persists for Shopify Rebellion Black. We'll get to have a conversation with the conductor of it. BCJ and the desk is coming after the short break. Don't go anywhere.
I'd say it's a little bit different. It's a different aspect. It's like picking up any new player, different personalities, different backgrounds, like different amounts of experience. So I'd say it's a challenge in its own aspect, especially like with Timotino. He's less experienced, hasn't played challengers before, but he's like proven me a lot. He's made me proud. So I'd say just like teaching them what our system is, because every team has different systems. It's like, what is the system for core? So that's like been the biggest thing. We've been like preaching that, like, yo, we do things like this way here. Like maybe you did it on this team, but like this is how we do it here. Like we're gonna do stuff like this, right? So just teaching them like our way, like the core way. I guess like consistency is like a big one, I'd say. And that's still a big challenge for every single team, including this one. We're still trying to find like our footing, our consistency. But I would just say like the mood's always high. No matter what, we lose a couple rounds and it's like, all right, whatever, like next round mentality. We like to have that like short-term memory loss. Like who cares? We get 1v5 next round, doesn't matter. We get, I don't know, something happens, op collateral and a clutch, like it doesn't matter. We're always going to the next round. We're always in high spirits, and we just try to focus on winning that next round. I would say consistent improvement. We're gonna work hard every single day, day in, day out. We had our first match already. We won map 1. We ended up getting reverse sweeped. Tough loss, but there's so much to learn from these matches, right? You can learn a lot from scrims, but match reps are like so much different. And you just learn so much more, like how people react to certain situations. So I'd say throughout every single match this season, you're going to see improvement. And we are really trying to dominate this season when it comes to the end of it. So maybe week 1, maybe week 2 won't look so good, but by the end of the season, like we'll look good. We're like low experience as a team. We just started practicing like a few weeks ago as a 5, compared to some other teams who've been together for months, potentially even like last season. So we're still working together. We're still trying to find our footing, but just consistent improvement.
I will. Cage 3. One enemy. One enemy.
A match that I genuinely did not think was going to end at some point, but in the end, after 4 rounds of overtime, Shopify Rebellion Black able to close it out. That overtime that took so long that Dan had to leave, unfortunately, so it was just me and Roy now. Actually, her internet died. She wishes she could be here, but Roy, what a crazy match.
Honestly, I like the first story better. She was just blown away that she quite literally just disappeared off the stream. Honestly,
she had
that was
plans
a good one.
after. She had to go.
No, it was joking aside, it was a great start for SAD. They were up 8-4 in the first half. Obviously, as soon as the Haven is still very attack sided, so as soon as SRB was swapped over to the other side, we really started to see what they were cooking with this composition. A little bit of execution with amazing utility and great timing. There's so many set plays. There's just so many moments where I'm like, okay, I can very clearly see what they're cooking with this composition, and I'm ready to eat this meal that they're chefing up, to be honest.
I mean, even looking back at this, like, yeah, there's victors, but there is a reason this got so close too. I mean, for how the first map went down, which, I mean, with all respect, didn't maybe inspire too much confidence going into the second one when this is Shopify Rebellion's pick, you know? But
yeah.
Cora did a really good fight here. They did a really good job of being able to react. They were shooting. Darkus was going off. And I think that they did give Shopify Rebellion a good run for their money.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that goes without saying. I feel like that match could have gone either way. I would have not been surprised whatsoever at any point in that match after the first half of us being like, yeah, we're going to a third map, to be honest. But at the end of the day, SRB, they locked it down, they tightened up, and they just won out the late rounds.
Yeah, it was just absolutely nuts. So Core, even if it is a 0-2 so far in their time at Challengers, they have a lot to be proud of. But for Shopify Rebellion Black, I think these adaptations we were able to see. We talked week 1 about this being this super roster that we wanted to see. A lot of really powerful pieces coming together. And they didn't get that win. That was the upset. That was kind of the crazy thing coming on out. So to see this victory, I think is going to inspire a lot of confidence. And I think for this team too, with pieces still coming together, I think it only gets better.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think BCJ was saying it in the kind of the pre-match interview that they had recorded, right, where he was talking about like they were bringing players from different rosters, right? They were bringing so many different pieces from so many different styles and so many different sort of like realms of approach to the game that it's gonna take a little bit of time to get everybody on the same page. And I sort of agree with that, and I see it. I can see them come together slowly. I can see them kind of getting on the same brain waves and the same wavelength, excuse me. And I think they're slowly building towards something that could be magnificent to watch by the time we come to like week 3, week 4, week 5, if it goes that far.
I Yeah, it'll be a good time. I'm just looking at this first kills thing. Core again to give props over to duelists. We're highlighting those going into the series, Paint and Timotino. So to be able to highlight that, I think is cool. But being able to see that he has 5 first kills and be like, yeah, let's go Timotino. Then to see 5 kills on the other end coming out from Pancakes
On the
is
Sensi roll.
phenomenal. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is wild. That's yeah. There's just so much layers to the way both of these teams were playing, right? Like you could see Pancakes constantly pushing for space. It's not surprising that he has 5 first kills throughout the 32 rounds. To be honest, he was taking a lot of rounds into his own hand. He was popping off when he was needed, and he was securing a lot of the late rounds that SRB really needed to get that little edge to finish off the series.
Of course, when we are going to get a quadruple overtime, a lot of these scores are a little higher than it was quite in that regulation. But the fact that everyone really did be able to step up here, I don't think there was really just a lacking piece. There's not really anyone to
Hmm.
point to like, hey, this didn't really work. I think it was just honestly through and through awesome. And even like going into this, we got to see the compositional change with the Tejo. Brock played that awesome.
Amazingly.
So good. And then it
Yeah.
was nice too being able to see Paint on the neon. I was unsure if they'd maybe swap that up, but that also clicked really, really nicely.
Yeah, I think the way they were implementing the duelist slash Tejo combination throughout the Haven map was amazing to watch. But this is the Brock Paint performance over the series. Obviously, you can tell the Brock the Rock dropping 155 ADR, Paint right there at 160. But look at the KDA on Brock's side. I mean, yeah, Paint was getting set up for kills, but look at Brock, 2.7 KDA. Man is popping off. He's supporting like a beast, and he's doing so well for his team, also surviving to be around for these late round situations as well. I mean, they're doing what they have to do to close out the series, and
He
they're
does
doing it phenomenally.
he does it all. Honestly,
Really.
you can support, you can get kills. It's just awesome. And to see Paint really being able to show up throughout this series as well is awesome. Because of course, here being able to see him play more with this established roster, not just kind of like a one-off situation. I'm excited to see more of that progress and to see more of him coming out from this series. But I'm just excited to see more from the Shopify Rebellion Black roster. So we have none other than IGL BCJ on the line to tell a little bit more about that. Congratulations on the win. Quadruple overtime. You definitely dragged it out, but you get that win. How are you feeling?
Oh man, we're feeling good. Obviously, we wish we closed it out with less stress, but that's just sometimes how the game goes. You lose some silly rounds, or they win a couple clutches. It's that easy. So we're happy to come away with the win. We feel like we played pretty good on bind. It's like the level we're striving for. And you've seen that on other maps that we've played as well. So trying to get to that level on every map right now is going to be important.
100%. And I want to talk about the overtime, but also your new position within the team as the IGL, because we get to see this new role from you coming into the season, which is really exciting. We heard a lot of really good words at what you're capable of here. So how is it then having to lead this team and through such a stressful end game as well? Are you extra stressed because you're a little bit newer to this IGL role?
Oh man, honestly, I'd say I'd be lying if I say I wasn't more stressed. I mean, I think I've been through some pretty stressful points in my career. So in any way, like in some kind of sense, it's trained me to be used to the stressful environments. Um, Especially like with a team full of like just superstar young fraggers. Like I'm teaching them a lot of like basic fundamental stuff, and as well the coaches. That's why they're here. So it's like it's funny sometimes laughing about like what they know and what they do know, and like how good they can be if they just like do a simple couple things. So we've had a really good time like developing this roster. These guys they picked the best players that you possibly could have in the free agency market. Now it's just about trying to mesh, right? That's where I come in. That's my job with the coaches. I feel like we're getting on a pretty good like getting a pretty good on like the levels of where we need to be with teamwork, like how much we're talking to each other outside of practice, how much effort we're putting in, not only outside of the practice but in the server. Like we're getting to that level where we feel like if we play our A game, we're unstoppable, and that's where you need to be to win Ascension. So ultimately, that's the goal for us.
I mean, you have the team of very capable people, so glad to hear that things are meshing well and that this can be the unstoppable team. I want to talk a little bit about the series that we saw. You're talking about the bind and it being that Valorant that you wanted to see from the team and etc. And it was a really good Valorant. I want to talk about the composition because we've seen a lot of teams go towards these different ideas, bring out the Tejo, etc. But we're still seeing stuff like the Gecko and the Sky from you. So it worked really, really well. Is it just something that the team is really, really comfortable with, or it's a composition you think, I mean, still a little slept on? What's old is gold.
I think like every time you look at a comp, you look at what is going to benefit your team versus other teams. Something that's really good about our team is we do have like two of the best initiators in the game, and especially in challengers with me, Brock. Having us on those roles is just super comfortable, and so it kind of just clicked really early on and made sense for us on that map. So that's why we decided to go with it.
Is that something too the team's kind of prioritizing while still everyone's trying to mesh together, having people on those comfortable roles to have that more experienced voices there?
Yeah, obviously it helps. I mean, every little bit helps, right? Player comfortability, trying to beat the meta. You know, obviously Teo being added kind of changed a lot, not only for kickoff but for challengers. So I think a lot of teams are just trying a lot of different things, and that's kind of why you see a bunch of different comps from every different team. Teo just changed the meta, man, and yeah, you're gonna see a lot of wacky, crazy comps, especially in challengers, man. They got nothing to lose. I mean, we're testing shit for fun.
Hey, you're saying testing stuff for fun, but there's still ascension. I mean, for yourself too, and for players on this team, like that's a huge goal at the end of the tunnel. Like, is this the roster that's going to be able to make that run?
Yeah, I mean, it's been clear since day one. I think the coaches and Sean have kind of understood like this is the roster that has the potential to be one of the best in the world. I mean, we've already showcased that in scrims. So it's just about coming into the server on these challenger days and just showing up. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. Show up in practice and show up in the matches. We do that. I mean, I don't think there's anything that can stop us going forward.
I love too that you call out not just the best in challengers, but best in the world. I love that you're thinking beyond that big picture. That was a crazy match, crazy overtime. So I'll let you go get some rest, be able to hang out with the team. BCJ, congrats. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Shout out to the Shopify girls team.
Love that shout out at the end. That was a great words come from
Yes.
BCJ. Got the shout out there. Let's go. And I love too kind of the mentality with the team going into things. I mean, they have those experienced voices, they have this talent, and yeah, the confidence. This has the potential to be one of the best rosters, not just here, but in the world.
Yeah, I love BCJ. I mean, he's such a well-spoken person. He's just so funny to listen to. But I like that they have their sights set super high. I mean, the goal is very clear. They want to be the best in the region, in the world. It's steps at a time, yes, but this is the perfect opportunity for them to display themselves while they have financial support, while they're building, while they have access to players of their caliber. And I think, I mean, he got me on board. I'm excited to see how this roster develops.
100%. Pulling up the bracket to kind of talk about things a little bit more. It's nice too to hear that confidence with the tough loss last week. But if they can keep on going forward and prove, well, that's all that's going to be matter. Of course, we got those side streams as well. TSM going to be able to take down another win, being one of those few undefeated teams. Blue Otter as well with a 2-0 over Hakikimori. So Rankers, Hubert, M80, TSM. Those are 4 undefeated teams and challengers so far.
Honestly, that's pretty in line, I would say, with what we were expecting, give or take, right? Maybe rankers could be questioned a little bit, but I think they're undefeated. They're like what, undefeated for almost 15 matches in a row at this point.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe it's not surprising at all that these 4 teams are up here. Obviously, M80 opting for the kind of the underdog approach. Same with TSM, same with Cube. A lot of these teams are sort of trying to do that. So I'm excited to see the next generation of Valorant developing in front of our eyes.
Yeah, with a lot of these teams, a lot of potential here. And of course, a team like Hubert Academy, where, yeah, it's the players that have the potential because the team can't. There's a lot to be looking forward to, which is just, it's a great time to be watching challengers. It's a great time to be invested. Like, if you're not watching already, like, Roy, what are people doing out here? Let's be real.
What are they doing? I don't know. This is the most exciting season of VCL. Get on board, support the stream, support the players. This is amazing.
Unfortunately, if you want to get on board, well, you're a little bit too late for this week because that is it for our Challengers coverage. For those who are tuning in, thank you so much. We're going to be back next week with a lot of Valorant action. Stay tuned. Until then, have a great rest of your week and weekend. We'll see you soon.
You got the better guns. You might as well go for it. Spray through from T-Dog to take down Benji as well. 4v4 here after that opening pick, but Burbs has come around the back! And that's an easy 3 down. Tower, you don't need to clear anything else. Now that you know one's there, you don't care how many more are. And Zerona now has free reign as the rest of SAT extends on the site. Hubert, the one place that was Tejo ulted, is now the one place they get to reside. As SAT Esports will very safely get this defused with smoke, player, anything but death in their way. Time though, and still an angle to get the spike down, but the immediate extension leads right into twosies. Sights, now 3 on the board into the 1v1 with 5 health to go. No molly, no stim, just a tap, Nismo the peak, and the mid to go. He still has spike in hand and can't finalize until the site's been totally cleared. There's 10 seconds on the clock, and everybody's gone. Hubert's re-navigated over to Art at this point. This is so beautifully woven, and they're able to rush right onto this as the pressure subsides. Redux, the perfectly timed shot. And there is that instability, the one round of it that Hubert needed. See the Shopify, they're going for a full-on wraparound here. First the aftershock onto the spike, but Nerve! Great shot on the BCJ as he runs away. Perfect read, and now it's Pancakes to just enter for 2. Is the go signal to enter. On top of the flash, he will not get anything. Shopify will barely escape that. I should say Brock will barely escape that. Now the double initiator trying to swing properly. BCJ pretty damn good for 3. And Shopify.
So we see reinforcements from Core going over there. We know that Shopify Rebellion like taking that battle outside of A, but given where that stealth drone is, Core have an idea on what's going on.
Nerve is so deeply planted in this. He's going to get checked and completely punished. That smoke's gone for Core. What a risky decision. But Timotino is allowed time to wrap. And the camera, what? The shot, Pancakes, what a turn. Dark is forced to fight early and he's only good for 1. And the dominoes will collapse this time for Shopify Rebellion, Black's favor. 4v2 as they enter site, and the Cypher util will stop them only momentarily, as will evidently Core. It is a 2-0 victory. It is a Shopify Rebellion Black win. It is a restabilization of this squad that we were waiting for. We got the better guns.